I'd love to just get started with some introductions. I'm going to introduce myself and then some of our other staff who are going to be at SAM with us this summer here, so I'll have them introduce themselves as well. My name is Miles. I use he, him pronouns. If you've been to SAM before, you probably know me as the program director. I've been at SAM 2014 through 2018 in that role. And this is my first summer as director, and I'm super excited that y'all are going to be there to join me in this amazing ride of a summer we're going to have. Awesome. And next up, we have Sammy.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sammy. I use he, him pronouns. I actually went to SAM camp for technically 3 years. I was in the Questers. And I will be the program director at SAM this summer. And I'm really, really looking forward to it.
Woo! We love when campers come back to work at SAM because they have such a special perspective on the place. I'm super excited that Sammy is joining us. And we also have Vivian, who will be joining us this summer.
Hey everyone, I'm Vivian. I'll be the assistant director. I'm new to SAM camp, so I'm looking forward to learning a lot from everyone and can't wait to see you all this summer.
Yay! Awesome. And we have Michelle as well.
Hi, good to see a lot of people who I know and some who I'll get to meet. My name is Michelle. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the program director for all of Farm and Wilderness. I will be in, as much as I can be, all the camps this summer. SAM has a special place in my heart since basically since 1989. I haven't left. So I look forward to a really great summer this year.
Woo! Awesome. And we also have Tulio here with us, who some of you may be familiar with from Timberlake. Do you want to say hi to Tulio?
Yeah, hi everyone. Tulio, he, him pronouns, and I was the director of Timberlake for 10 summers, and now I'm also super excited for my new job, which is marketing manager, which will be the communications this summer. So all about photos and blogs and things like that. So I'll be the person you'll be chatting to about how you have, how we're not going to put up one of those like little webcam things. Nope, not going to do that to record every moment, but we do want to get you what you need to feel relaxed and at ease about the summer. So I'll be handling that. And all my kids went to SAM and were Questers and things like that. So I also have a love for SAM camp.
Awesome. Well, and I'm super excited that all of y'all are here as well. A little bit later, all of our campers are going to join a breakout room with Sammy to have some fun. And so y'all will get to introduce yourselves then. But for now, look, I'm just so excited that camp is happening this summer because I was so sad last summer. There was no camp. I've been missing camp like cuckoo bananas, and I just had to write a song about it. So I'd love to share that song with you if that's okay. This is okay. Also, one of my favorite things about SAM is singing because I love singing and I love songs. So I just had to share my love for SAM and for you all in a song. What you doing? Where you at? Oh, you got plans for the summer, I know that. I'm sipping water in my sun hat. I packed some extra socks in my backpack. My cabin's clean, the lake's warm. Just wrote a skit that I'm ready to perform. Soon we'll be dancing and prancing on the east side of this mountain's peak. We'll be standing, what's happening? We'll play some moss camp games, and every raisin I eat is coming straight from the gourd. So if you're trying to come to Vermont, I'ma leave the camp open. I'ma leave camp open. that you're coming through. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The sun's bright, the grass is green, mosquitoes bite, but I don't mind, 'cause Sam's cooking is so divine. I hope you're hungry, bring your appetite. Oh, I'm full of anticipation. We'll have so much fun cooperating. I'm talking hiking and paddling, and then we'll swim in Lake Nineveh. Let's jump in, play some all camp games, and every raisin I eat is coming straight from the gourd. So if you're trying to come to Vermont, I'ma leave the camp open. I'ma leave camp open. I'ma leave the camp open, yeah. I'ma leave camp open. I'm hoping that you feel the way I do when you're gonna come to camp this summer. Tell me that you're coming through. Woo! Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so excited that you all will be at camp. I can't wait. Yeah, there's so many things I'm excited about. One of the big ones is singing and sharing music. I'm really excited to discover what you all like to listen to and how you interact with music and so many other things at camp. So now we're going to move into a little PowerPoint presentation, and I'm going to give you a little overview of what you can expect at camp this summer. Oh yeah, I'm going to move to sitting. Thank you for reminding me. Here we go. Okay. Here it comes. I swear I made a presentation. Oh, okay. Well, we can just view it like this. Can you all see that first slide with all those happy campers holding canoe paddles?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, that first slide is just to say, welcome to SAM Camp. We're so excited to have you here. Okay. So when I think about like, what is SAM Camp all about? What is the point of SAM Camp? Why do I come back to SAM Camp summer after summer? And why sign up to go to SAM Camp? These are the main reasons. Community. I think camp is this really special opportunity to form a close-knit community where we make the community guidelines. We decide what we want our community to be like. I know in the rest of the world, it can feel really hard to have an impact on the larger community. So I think camp is a great place to practice that. Next is self-expression. At camp, whoever you are is 100% awesome, 100% cool, whatever you're into. If you're into ancient mythology, if you're into bird watching, whatever you like to wear at camp. I love to see people express themselves. And however you want to express yourself is 100% welcome at camp. Another big thing is creativity. I love seeing staff and campers' creativity. I think especially this summer, people are going to stretch their creative muscles and use their creative mind to like an even bigger extent than before. And I can't wait to see what everyone comes up with. Next on the list is challenge. I think it's really important that we challenge ourselves. I think camp is the perfect place to try something new, try something that you maybe thought was too hard before in a safe environment, to get some challenge and to learn something new about yourself. And then of course, fun. I think camp is a ton of fun, and I hope you have the same experience when you're here. Okay. We're coming back. Do-do-do-do. Someone is very excitedly yelling outside of my window right now. It's fine. We can just keep going. Camp is a great place to make mistakes. You just go to the next one. Woo! Okay. I'm going to go through sort of what a day in the life at Sam Camp can look like. A typical day. We have very few typical days at Sam Camp because we spend a lot of our time out on the trail on trips. And then even when we have days in camp, a lot of them are not typical. We'll have a special event. We'll have an all camp game. We'll have a surprise. But I just want to give you like a little heads up about what you can expect. Okay. Good morning. So in the morning, we wake up around 7 o'clock and we are woken up by the beautiful sound of the bells that ring out from the middle of Sam Camp. You can see in this picture what one of the cabins it looks like at Sam. They all look pretty similar to this. We live in 3-wall open air cabins. Each cabin at Sam now has a porch, which is pretty exciting. So you can see this cabin hanging out on their porch. So after you get up in the morning, you tidy your cabin a little bit. You make your way to the hill for our morning circle. After breakfast, we do some chores because work is love made visible at Farm and Wilderness. After chores, we have silent meeting. And then we go into our first set of activities, morning activities. After morning activities, we have lunch. And then after lunch, we have rest hour, which is when you go back to your cabin, you do something a little bit chill and relax with your cabin, play cards, read a book. And then we have more activities in the afternoon. You can see in this picture is the inside of our lodge. You can see the lodge library and the lodge instrument library next to that. And the wonderful Gus playing the mini banjo, the banjolele, I think it's called, banjolele. After afternoon activities, we have dinner. Flashlight time is when you go get your flashlights. You're prepared for the evening. We have some evening activities, which could be an all camp game. It could be something we do as a community, some sort of community bonding, getting to know each other. And then we sing our good night song and we go to bed. So here's just a small sample of the different activities you might encounter at Sam Camp. You can see in this photo, that was our mural club from a couple years ago. They met a couple of times over the course of a session and designed and painted this mural. And then we put it up on the side of the lodge and it's still there. I really love this mural. So yeah, here's some of the examples of activities. I won't read them all out, but as you can see, we've got a big variety of activities, everything from arts, nature, wilderness skills. And if there are different activities you think of that you're interested to try this summer, you can have your parents email me and I'll see if we can fit them into the schedule. Okay, next we're going to talk about trips. So each session, you'll go on 2 trips. The first is a shorter trip with your a cabin trip. It's a 2 overnights. And then the second one is your long trip, which is 5 overnights. And then we will spend time before and after trips packing in and packing out. And then I unfortunately don't get to go on trips. But if you go to the next slide, something I really enjoy is trip skits. When you come back from your trip, and you perform a skit to tell me and the rest of camp what you did on your trip. This is another, like up there with singing, one of my absolute favorite things about camp is to see what happened on your trip. As you can see in this photo, it looks like there was a unicorn on one of these trips. And then maybe on the lower trip, someone was like in some sort of political campaign. I'm not sure. The wildest things happen on trips. So I can't wait to hear about them. Okay. My 6 favorite things that I'm really looking forward to this summer: singing, as I mentioned, being in nature. I love the campus that Sam exists on. I love the lake and the trails and the trees and the fields. Super beautiful. Swimming in Lake Nineveh is another one of my favorites. Trip skits, as I mentioned. Creativity, as I also mentioned. And of course, last but not least, is Sam Arthur's cooking. Seriously, this is the best camp food in the world, in my opinion. Sam Arthur makes the most delicious food. Yeah. So those are all the things that I'm really looking forward to about camp, and that's some of what you can expect on a typical, but not super typical day at Sam Camp. So now we're going to move into our breakout rooms. If you haven't already, if you're a camper, can you please put a C before your name? And then, so Viv knows who to put in the breakout room. So you're going to head to that breakout room with Sammy, and he's got some super fun games planned for y'all. And then we will meet back here in a little while to say goodbye. Did it work? I think it worked. Is there anyone here who is under the age of 16?
There's a C Felix at the bottom of my screen.
Okay, thank you.
You joined? Oh, he joined. Thank you.
Maybe a C Nora too.
Okay. Owen entered the waiting room. Okay, well, while Viv is getting the...
It's been assigned, I just need to join.
Okay, so if you were assigned to that breakout room and if you are a camper, can you please head on over to your breakout room? Okay, great. Wonderful. So I just wanted to open it up for some questions and answers, and hopefully I can give you the answers you're looking for. And I have Michelle here on backup to help me out with the questions that I don't have answers for. So yes, who has a question?
I do.
Great.
This is Nish Dash's dad out here in California. I guess I know we're going to get a lot of emails about preparation and things like that in the coming weeks. Is there anything like, should we be doing more like physical stuff with our children, kind of get them prepped for anything, or
Weight training.
or
Everyone needs to start their lifting regimen right away. No, that's a great question. I think, yeah, getting your camper out, walking, hiking, if possible, is a really good way to just prepare for the summer. Yeah, I would say also practicing hiking with a mask could be really useful, because I know that can take some getting used to. That took me some getting used to last summer. Yeah. Would you add anything, Michelle?
Well, just that for many people, kids, adults, we've been much more sedentary. So it's not as if we require any kind of physical competency to go to Saltash. But even if you want to go to the bathroom at camp. You have to walk up a hill. So you need to be in slightly better shape than probably people have been, in general this year. But there's not going to be any kind of test as campers enter. They will leave in better shape than they came, probably.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Sure.
Curious what's going to be the same or different about trips this year with, different regulations and potting and all of that.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is just that we're going to be staying in the state of Vermont. And so we've created some new itineraries, which I'm really excited about. Me and Michelle, and then we also already had a couple of itineraries that we use in Vermont. So that is the biggest change. And then also for long trips, we'll be keeping the cabin groups the same. We won't be able to mix up, unfortunately, as we sometimes do for long trips. So everyone will go on both their trips with the same group, which I think provides an opportunity to really form a cohesive team that knows what they're doing on trail. They know how to get all the chores done together. They know how to work as a team. And so hopefully they'll have more time for programming and fun on trail.
How many campers total are there in July session, and how many 14-year-olds are there in July session?
There are 30 campers total. I do not know off the top of my head how many of them are 14-year-olds, but having looked over the list many times, it looks pretty well spread out across the age range. Would you say so, Michelle?
Yeah, in truth, I would have to look again to know for sure. But, one thing is we do have some 15-year-olds this year because campers for whom last year would have been their last summer are able to re-enroll. So there is a little bit of a wider range.
Great.
What's the mix of returning campers and new campers?
What is the mix of returning campers to new campers? These are wonderful questions.
Yes. I can look while we're
yeah, if you wouldn't mind looking, and we can get Michelle will get the inside scoop on that.
We were hoping to
Marcus.
know what chicken wedding was.
Oh, yeah. So a couple of years ago, we had chickens at Sam Camp. And so that was one of the chores was taking care of the chickens, and we collect the eggs. And so one of the campers, or a couple of campers, just had this idea that it would be fun to put on a chicken wedding. And so we decided to put that into our program. And so campers said words about the chickens. We had a little band come together to perform music for the chicken wedding. And then we had Sam Arfer made hors d'oeuvres, and it was just a fun afternoon where we celebrated chicken love. So yeah, that's one of my favorite things about camp is just going with what campers come up with. Because we do lots of planning before the summer begins, but some of the best ideas come from the campers once they arrive.
I have a question. We're a new family, and we just wondered about the bunks versus the trip. So you said that the cabins are going to stay together. So does that mean they're going to be same gender trips instead of co-ed trips?
Yes, yeah, they'll be with their cabin group the whole time for trips.
And how big are the cabins groups?
We're gonna have 6 campers in each cabin this summer.
Oh, okay. And then I have a follow-up question because he was originally signed up for what was that called? The all boys one.
Yeah,
But-
particularly.
Yeah, and he switched, A, because it was co-ed, but B, because he saw that there was a piano at Saltash Mountain. Is that true?
Yes, we have 2 pianos.
Okay.
We have an indoor piano and an outdoor piano.
Okay. About that. So even if it's not co-ed trips, there's still a piano. Perfect.
Yeah. And we will have opportunities. Campers will be able to mix with other cabins for a lot of their activities. And so we're going to make it like we're planning out our programming intentionally with the hopes that everyone will get to interact with everyone else at camp for an activity or a socially distant game. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more to the sorry to nerd out on COVID. I'm sure you've had so many questions, but sort of on the thinking behind like how much we're trying to create a bubble, like that NBA bubble where you come in and you get tested and you make sure everybody is negative and then you can just sort of be, and how much emphasis on the sort of potting, like just with your cabin for the trips. And like, so what's sort of the thinking behind the balance between the two?
So I'm going to step in because I'm part of the group that is trying to figure that all out. And I just have to, number one, be very honest with people that we have been working like hours and hours and hours each week to figure it out. And then the last 2 weeks, there's been luckily all sorts of different, guidance that has come out. So we are still in the process of figuring out how the summer will look and etc. So I can't, the thing that I want to say is that we will give you as much up-to-date information as we can. I mean, by the time summer comes around, we will have our protocol in place and it will likely be updated on the web, and you will get more updated than what I can tell you now. But I can tell you that in terms of our thinking, we know that until people are going to need to arrive at camp with a negative test that was taken within 72 hours. But folks are going to be traveling from all over, right? So, so the earlier part of the summer is it's important until we have the next that we're going to test people, and we're not sure if it's 5 days in or 7 days in, and then we get the results of that test. Other places you might quarantine. What we're just doing is just being with your cabin. You'll do your activities with your cabin group. You'll be closer with your cabin group. That's our form of quarantining, just so that if anyone does bring something in, it doesn't take out the whole camp, right? So after that, we're going to be able to both increase the size of folks that people will be able to hang out with, and that's some of those specifics are the specifics that are changing, so that's what I can't speak to. But the reason for the second trip being with the cabin group is because the things that we won't change over the summer is who you eat with and who you sleep with, because then you're not wearing a mask. And so that's why for me, it's been nice to be able to have these co-ed groups and to mix up the groups on trips, because you get to know a wider base out of camp. That'll more happen in camp, and I'm with Miles that you'll really become closer with your trip group, and there's things that'll be able to happen on the second trip group that can't happen on the first. Like on the second trip group, campers will be able to cook for each other because they're in the same pod. On the first, that won't really be, it'll be the counselors more cooking, which is really different. That is a difference from the former trip. So, and there'll be opportunity to sit around the campfire, likely without any masks on the second trip, because they're a household, and that they will have been together, will have eaten together, will have swum together, etc. So that's where our thinking has gone. And as the 3 weeks happen, there'll be like I said, I don't know exactly the date and etc., but there'll be more and more opening up for us within camp. So yeah, I hope that gives you some of what you wanted.
Thanks, Michelle.
You know, I want to say one other thing. It's the we have to balance wanting to make as much of a normal summer as possible with, if something gets in, not wanting to send everyone home, you know? So it's tricky. And so yeah, that's, you know, just adding, you know, letting you know that.
Who else has questions?
This is going to sound silly, but as a singer, how are you going to manage the singing across the pods? It's such an important part of the Sam Camp experience.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're still going to be doing lots of singing. We just have to be further spaced apart while we're singing. And so, to be honest, I'm still trying to figure out the best way to do that, whether it will be like you sing with your pod at the same time, like we take turns, or we all sing at once, but we're just like in further groups out in the field. Yeah. But so we'll be wearing our masks and spaced out enough so that we can sing. Yeah. And we're thinking maybe because typically before every meal when we circle up, we sing like a grace or a pre-meal song. We're thinking maybe like we'll form a really big circle in the field where we're all spaced out. And then to sing grace, we can all like turn around and sing out to the hills and to the lake and to the trees, something like that.
So I have one more question about the campers are getting to talk to each other now. Is there going to be, I forget how this works. Do they get another chance to kind of communicate with each other before camp starts? Is that encouraged or not? Like, just like for them to kind of get to know each other somehow, like whether it's another Zoom call or is there anything like that that's happening? Like, so
we don't have another.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's it. Just I was curious if that's encouraged or if there's a chance for that or not.
We don't have another Zoom event call planned or anything like that. Yeah, I would say I think typically we don't have even any sort of Zoom welcome before camp starts. This is sort of new. So I would say, yeah, not necessary. I feel like I don't know if people are allowed to share their contact information or what, or if we're allowed to do that. I don't know. Michelle, how would you answer this question?
I was actually going to go to Tulio on this.
It is I think it is a new frontier for us, and I think that one of the things that I can say is that we're working really hard, and everybody is just doubling down on, we want to make this special edition summer meet all of y'all's needs, the campers' needs, everyone's needs. So if you are seeing something that is an unfilled need, please reach out to Miles. And with that information, we can be as responsive as possible. So we don't, our capacity of anyone's capacity is limited. So we don't want to kind of chase down and set up a whole big thing. If we hear one person say, oh, could we have a second one or do whatever? But if we get a bunch of people, then we'll realize, wow, this is a thing. Like everybody's really needing that. And that's why we made all those phone calls, so that we could see what is the impact of COVID on folks' life and see patterns and then be responsive to those bigger patterns. So that is a way of saying we haven't ruled out something like that, but if we really see that it's something that's a really great way of supporting our campers, we can certainly look at that. We just need information, and that's what we're here for, to try and set that up and make the best of this experience going into it. And as far as getting in touch with other folks, it is a little tricky right now because we want to respect your privacy, and we don't yet. We will by next year have a way where folks can opt out and say, yeah, okay, fine. If you know what, if someone's at the same session of my kids, go ahead and pass all my information. But at the moment, we haven't done that step with you. So it's rather laborious to say, okay, who's in my area and who wants to check in? But we can do that. We can do that. It just takes a little time of playing the matchmaker of respecting your privacy and also making connections. So yeah, very open to that.
I see a raised hand.
Hi there. Forgive me for joining late, and I apologize if you covered this already, but I wanted to know if there's an update on the vaccination status of the staff. And then I have a follow-up question.
Yeah, we can't, I don't think we can ask staff legally if they're vaccinated. I do know that staff are coming from all different states and different places. Some staff have access to vaccines while others don't. And so we aren't requiring it because that would make it like an access issue. Yeah, so I cannot say for sure who will be vaccinated and who will not be.
Are you educating the staff on vaccine availability? I mean, vaccines are available for 16 and over across the country. I understand privacy issues. I understand liability issues. Well, I don't understand them. I just know they're there. But I also understand the primacy of public health, and we shouldn't be foolish, right? You cannot get yourself in trouble by forcing people to do things, but you can educate them and encourage them, right?
That's exactly what we're doing. And we will know when they arrive if they've been vaccinated or not. And
how will you know? I'm sorry.
I think we can ask, and it very well could impact. Also, there's a self, purpose in this for staff to get vaccinated. So we have encouraged them, and the one thing is, like, we have a number of international staff that we've some of them are returners, not so much to SAM. I guess this is not a SAM issue at all. So
No.
I don't need to go any further with it.
I can chime in and say that we have seen our population of staff is very vaccine friendly, in the sense that these are the folks that are very motivated to get vaccines. They're going out there, they're getting them. We have no indication of any reluctance on any camp's part from our staff. So we feel we're in a good position. We have a lot of headwind. We're seeing really high percentages on a I'm going to back away from scientific, like stating this statistic, because it's hard to, you really need to be rigorous with that. But we're seeing a very elevated level already of staff confirming and volunteering and saying that they're going out there and seeking that.
Right.
So we are really optimistic about that. We just back away from anything that sounds like all of our staff will be vaccinated, because we can't make that promise. But we are I'd say 80 to 90% right about now, and that's good considering we have international staff in the aggregate.
Okay. And then just as a follow-up question, this may not be relevant. This may have maybe more for Timberlake. I'm not sure because it was on a different call. So I understand that the barn is under construction for at Timberlake, and I'm wondering, are the individuals involved in guiding the construction of the barn, how do you deal with their vaccination status?
Yeah, that's a great point. We have one person who is a person who's willing to come in and behave as a staff member, and in the sense that they're going to follow all the same rules that any other staff member would. And I also know, because they work, they have worked with us before. They are not like some outsider that is an unknown entity. They are a previous employee, and they are, I believe, already vaccinated, but I can't confirm that without checking records. But they will be following the same protocol. So nobody will kind of come from the outside in. The staff is a very firm bubble, even to the point where we're leaning into it. I mean, I'm in charge of photography. We're figuring out how to manage photographers because they've always been visitors, and a lot of private schools are having a sort of, well, if you're PPE'd up, you can come in, you can leave. But we're really wary of that because of the morale issues with our staff. Our staff are young people who are working harder than they ever have in their life. And to see people kind of come and go is not what we want to expose them and have a morale drop. So we're taking it super, super seriously. That's a great question though, but yes, they will be inside the bubble and then able to guide and supervise.
Great, thanks so much.
Yep.
Can you share what kind of support you'll be able to offer staff? As a former staffer myself who relished my day off, I'm curious about what you have in place, and also if there's anything that we as parents can do to support staff who are not going to be able to run off to go to the movies.
Yeah,
or
well,
get ice cream.
I'm gonna jump in here because we're really to whatever, we know that where camp magic really happens is the staff, and even though it's not like there's a huge cosmopolitan Vermont to go spend your day, just even having a day where you don't hear a bell or you can make a choice of what you eat, those are big things. So we're creating day off separate spaces at each of the camps and putting money into trying to make them look a little nice and be comfortable, couches, little rugs, trying to get where just for this summer, increasing the amount of Wi-Fi available at the camps. And please don't tell your campers that. We're hoping to bring in meals for staff on days off so they can get some kind of special meals. We're planning kind of parties during the changeover time for them, and so that feels in some ways like the biggest unknown. Like we can revamp our programs, and they are pretty flexible, and we'll be able to offer a lot of the same things, but for sure from staff experience, it'll be different. And we really, I have to say that the leadership team is 100% invested in doing what we can to make it as pleasing experience and to really recognize the staff for what they're going to be doing.
I would just chime in there and say it's interesting. Thank you for that, Michelle, as well. I think you really covered like what we're doing, except also one thing to throw in there, we really are going to be very much more cognizant of mental health of staff. And we have resources put in place where folks can get, a little bit more support for what they are working with and working through if they don't have that kind of separation and coming back. And also, it is interesting, and the analogy that I have is for the hikes. When we offer this, broad range of hikes, there's often the hike, some people are like, I don't like hiking. What's the easiest hike? What's the hike where I don't actually have to do anything? And what's interesting is sometimes those hikes are a little, they got behavioral issues there because everyone's kind of not wanting to do the hike thing. It's a good analogy for staffing. I think that when you have the hardest hike, the one that everyone knows is going to be in the White Mountains, is going to have challenges and involve exertion, it often is a great hike. The kids are like, the morale's high. They're like quality. We came here to work. We came here to do something. And I feel like that's happening this summer. The people who sign up to be staff this summer know what they're getting in for. And you're going to have this remarkable quality of people that all decided that they wanted to be there and do this. And that's a great way of weeding out the folks who just wanted to kind of show up and hang out at camp. And, you know, I'm optimistic. It's not going to be easy, just like that hike isn't easy, but I think it's going to be remarkable. So I think it's going to be really cool.
And I just want to say, and I know that when we hired Miles in January, I think it was, and we put this question to him: what's it going to be like for you, Miles? And his answer was, I've been with 4 people in my house for a year. I'm going to be with 20 adults and so many kids. It's going to be great. So, you know, that's like the mindset that we're going in with.
Yeah, I will add, we've got the staff so far have just got like rock star staff hired, all people who similarly were like, I haven't gotten to do youth work in like maybe a year and a half, are like really excited about doing this job and about doing it well. And most of the people I've talked to have been like, I want to be as involved with the campers as possible. Can I, like, support staff are like, please, can I lead more activities? Like, can I help more? Yeah, so I'm super excited about the staff. I see another raised hand. Kristen?
And I also think Shelley and Deb had a question.
Okay.
I just wanted to thank you all so much for all the hard work and the care and the love you've put into making this happen. Dash was devastated when camp was canceled last year, so he's really excited to be able to go and to be back in Vermont. My question is, I know you work really hard around cabin requests, and it seems like with 6-person cabin this year, it's even more important. So how do we help make that happen? Because he has some friends on the East Coast that he obviously hasn't seen, like everyone hasn't seen people. So is that possible?
Yeah, I would say definitely send in your cabin requests. If they weren't on that initial camper form, you can feel free to send me an email. I haven't started making cabin groups yet, but we've definitely, me and Michelle have talked about this a lot. Like, it's super important. You like maybe haven't gotten to see your friends in person for most of over a year. And so we really want to optimize camper happiness in terms of their cabin placement this summer. Yeah, so we really appreciate that need.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, yeah, so should we ask our question now? Yeah, go. Okay, so 2 questions. One is, how early are the staff coming? So like, are they going to quarantine together in their training before the campers come? Like, when does that happen?
Yeah, exactly. So some staff will arrive on June 14th, and all of the staff will be there by June 18th. And we're going to have a full 2 weeks of staff training. So that will be our like 2-week quarantining session, so we can be like reasonably certain that there is no COVID in the community.
So you're going to test at that, like at the end of that?
We're going to test even in the middle of it. We'll be testing weekly.
Yeah. Okay, great. And my other question is, we didn't do the individual meeting with you, Miles, but since our camper is new, should we still can we still do that? Like
yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Yeah, for anyone that I haven't talked to on the phone yet, I would love to just get to know you, get to know what your camper's year has been like, what they're looking forward to, and what some of their needs might be this summer. That's super helpful for me. And then also I share that information with cabin counselors when appropriate to help them out as well.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just put a little note about cabin requests. As a former director, please put them in the form. You can always send an email to kind of follow up and check in. And usually those emails are best like a few weeks before camp, when we are starting to kind of get all sifted and, you know, registrations finished. But the inbox, a director's inbox, is a terrible place to hold structurally that kind of a request. That it's really good to be in the form. You can pull lists that way.
Awesome. Thanks, Julio. Do we have any more questions before we wrap up? Great.
Can I put a plug in for May 20th? That's our opening day Zoom event for parents to get an idea and get a quick walkthrough. We want to be respectful of your time. We're going to aim for 20 minutes of just hearing from our executive director, showing a video that we're producing so you can actually see what it looks like. You know, it won't have a cast of thousands. It'll have a cast of a dozen of our staff members, but we are going to actually try to create that so you can visually see what opening day looks like and feel more oriented when you actually arrive there. And then we would have a follow-up breakout session by camp specific. So we really want you to feel comfortable going into opening day, having a mental picture of what that actually looks like. And we think it's going to go really, really well. But if you can attend, then I think everyone will be more on the same page. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Julio. Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to bring the campers back just to say goodbye. But I want to thank you all for coming. It's really nice to get to know some of you virtually. Please feel free to email me with any questions you may have. I'm also happy to talk on the phone. If we haven't talked yet, or if you'd like to talk again, that's totally fine as well. Yeah, and we will hope to see you for that May 20th virtual event as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the campers have 1 minute to leave their breakout room. They're coming back. Time. Hello, how was the camper breakout room?
Good.
Good, awesome. Glad to hear it. All right, so something that I've learned from doing Zoom school this past year is that it can be really awkward to leave Zoom rooms. So I'm going to count down from 3, and on 3, I want everyone to unmute themselves and shout goodbye and wave goodbye wildly. And I will look forward to seeing your beautiful faces in person very soon. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Now I can say bye. Brandon, bye.
Bye, Brandon.
Bye.